back to Unleashing. I just made a video, but I want to double down here while I'm sitting around waiting. Some guy just sideswiped me while I'm in the parking lot, so I'm going to be a little bit on standby here for a bit. Anyways, yesterday I saw this big hoopla. The Supreme Court had changed ruling so that president has immunity, right, while they're in office. And instantly, they're flipping it like the same way they do all the time. And people jump right on board, and it blows my mind. Like Jeffrey Epstein, right? Jeffrey Epstein's alive. The day before he changed his name, they moved his bank account all to his new alias. And then you have a doctor come in and start saying, well, it looks suspicious, like he might have been killed, right? And then the story starts going, well, yeah, that's what really happened. They killed him. No, he killed himself. And while they're fighting amongst that, they just threw in the whole story, and then the media starts playing it, that they want you to be involved in, and not the actual option, which is, no, they snuck him out of there and put in a patsy dead body, all right? They do this crap all the time. So yesterday they're talking about this and how it's going to help Trump, and they're freaking out. Oh, he could do this and that, after Trump's already said that he wasn't going to go after him. He was going to show him just by, making America great, right? And while they have done everything that you can possibly think of to persecute him, all right, in this process, now they know that they can't, and they're at the end of that. So then within seconds, they go into the Supreme Court. They give them a little ring. Hey, we need to change the ruling so that you can't come after presidents, past or future, for anything to do while they're in office, right? And it has nothing to do with Trump. And while the media is doing the Jeffrey Epstein thing I just told you about, getting a story spinning up, right? Oh, Trump could do this and Trump could do that. It has absolutely nothing to do with Trump whatsoever. It has to do with that they cannot prosecute Obama and Biden now. That is the only thing that has to do with it. And now that he is going to get in as president, because they're effing up, because they're a bunch of retards, all right? If he does come back, or if anything gets shown, they can simply whip out with 100% immunity for Obama and Biden on anything that they want to. And maybe some immunity to Trump if they decide to. The whole thing's rigged against it. The Supreme Court's controlled. It has been the whole time. They have guys in it that they can move and adjust. Obama took care of that one guy when they assassinated him, all right? And that is exactly what the whole thing's about, in case you didn't know, all right? They're doing it for more immunity, right? And they do this stuff all the time during good times. They'll pass laws, and people are like, yeah, that's a great idea. Go after him, go after that. It's like, their term only lasts for so long. Those same laws will now apply to the evil dictator that gets into place, all right? The real bad guys. And of course you wouldn't pass the laws with them because you know what they're up to. So you do it for 4 years under a good guy, and next thing you know, boom, you've given all the power that you normally want to give. You've handed it over through laws without even thinking 4 years down the line or anything of the sort, right? And I don't think it's going to go that long at all. I think this whole thing's about to go down. Remember, they still have a timeline of 2030. They're still pushing towards that. I'm still looking at the farthest pushed out time. Could go further, but just me looking, 7 years from 2026 to 2033. All right, on the calendar that we use, on Jesus being here, right? That'd be 6,000 years, and that's why I push it back that far. Could it be a little further to 2028? Maybe, but everything is still falling in within that time period of a 70 or 80-year generation since Israel became a nation. What a coincidence that all this stuff has happened. It's not a coincidence why I was sent out. We're at the last pope, all right, who is the false prophet that works with the Antichrist. You guys have seen the videos. I'm not even allowed to share it on YouTube. YouTube took it down so fast, it's unbelievable. Barack Obama's history, all right, he is the Assyrian, he is the Antichrist, all right, this is the guy they want to use. If they do bring in somebody else, what people just fail to realize whenever they throw out other people's names is that there has to be a huge checklist of things that take place for somebody to be the Antichrist. Reason being, the Antichrist is told what they will do, who they are, and their different attributes, all right, to take place. Obama has checklisted all of them purposely. Obama was created. He was a naturally born. They created him. They genetically modified him right from birth. Like the movie Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They planned it. They birthed it at a seance in Africa, in southern Egypt, all right? same as the Assyrian. The Bible's mentioned that Egypt is Assyrian, all right? And that's who he is, which is what the Bible says, all right? And just like people suspected, he might come from the right leg of the revised Roman Empire. The right leg was the part of Africa, right? That's where he comes from. I've given a whole spiel on the whole thing, all right? So if somebody else were to come along, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all if somebody else did, but they're going to have to checklist these things. That's going to push things way further into the future, further than they can afford to do. That's why he's the guy. That's why they've already got a UN position open for him and everything else, right? All this stuff has to do with more immunity for Obama and Biden, his little puppet that he's got right now, okay? Anyways, I just wanted to put that out. Another thing I want to talk about, I was listening to somebody and they were talking about their dream the other day. I think it was a dream, and God was telling them, release the dogs of war. The whole werewolf thing that I've talked about, it's totally legit, and whether you believe it or not, the forest, national forest, and everything have been filling up for quite some time, right? And when this kicks off, I definitely think that has to do with the animals that John sees, when the fourth horseman rise, the animals go berserk or whatever. And I think it very well could be talking about something like this, but like I've said, people have plans to bug out, go in the woods and stuff like that. It's not going to be natural. They're going to be begging to get back to the cities and get into FEMA camps because there's not even going to be a safe haven. The tribulation is not survivable, all right? If you do, you're going to be with Israel and Petra somehow and survive that way. The number's going to be so small, it's ridiculous. Halfway through the tribulation, 6 billion people, 5 to 6 billion people are already dead. All right, it's like 3/4 of the Earth's population. I've already broken down the numbers. All right, it's crazy, but this stuff is like really right there. It's like right around the corner, and it's gonna catch people by surprise. They think that there's more time. They always think that there's more time. I even get swindled into it. Sometimes my mind will start working. God, you haven't come back yet. I want to do this. I want to do that. Just happened the other day, all right? I was talking with my buddy, and we were talking about starting a business. I get so sick of working for the man and everything else, all right? And I've had a few ideas before, but I never push them forward because I always know that God's going to come back. He's going to come back, and there is no future in that sense like that. There's no time to settle down. There's no time for things to be good. I'm not going to own a house in my lifetime or anything like that, right? It's all been ruined. My first home is going to be the one that God makes for me, right? And I start, I get kind of talked into it, and I throw out some ideas, and it takes off like a race, right? Boom, we're moving at the speed of light. And I wasn't even in it like 2 days, and I just got slammed basically by God, like slapped. There is no time, right? The whole thing got shut down. I'm just like, I kind of go into stun mode after it happened, but it's like, no, he's absolutely right. There is no time. There's no time for a future. There's no time for anything else. And I know that because things will dwindle sometimes and they'll take their time, that we think that we might have more time, and it can affect all of us, including myself, The truth is that there isn't. And God wants those that are watching to keep paying attention. We're not to be getting into the world, wrapped up into it or its affairs. When God told me back in 2016, I was praying for Trump. I did not want Hillary Clinton to get in. I was working at Quest. I was building these airplanes. I had my back turned, and I was working on an airplane section with the horizontal tail, and I was putting rivets and stuff together, and I was just talking to God. And I quickly was answered while praying for Trump if he could get in. And he told me, let the dead bury the dead. That's all he said. And I said, whoa, what the heck? And to continue on that verse after the colon or whatever in Luke, when Jesus tells that guy, let the dead bury the dead, when he's talking about staying with his dad, and he's putting Jesus off, and Jesus tells him, let the dead bury the dead, but continue to go do the work, right? And that's what he was telling me. As when my quest kind of first started, I was in it 2 years at that point, and he was telling me, don't worry about that stuff. It's not for you. Continue on your journey, what you're trying to do, which was to try to reach everybody. And if you guys don't know, it went way past anything I ever planned. I prayed to God when I was just a kid, if I could talk to 4 childhood friends. Pat, CJ, Jeremy, and Dustin. All right, that's it. I asked God if the end of days is ever coming in my lifetime, and I thought that it would. I was already planning when I was a kid not to have kids and other things like that that would slow me down if I needed to move during these times. Because I was already planning, I was already watching right from the start. And God answered that, and he sent me out in 2014, and he sent me out. And then it exploded into something far crazier than I ever thought. I didn't just talk to those 4 friends. Then it was other people, guys that I served with in the Army, people that I've worked with, new jobs, people that he wanted me to talk to on special occasions, going back all the way to childhood friends, elementary school. I've talked to my second grade principal, all right? I've given them all the speech, the little 3-hour speech, sometimes a lot more for people that have been around further than that. And I ended up hitting up everybody that I've ever known and worked with that's worth a damn in my entire life that I thought would. And to top it all off, to finish it up, the year prior, there was 3 more guys. I said, God, if there's any more time, there's only 3 more guys I've served with that I can think of. And he got me a CDO. And I went and got a job, and I told him that I'd get an over-the-road job, and I was like, but you got to make it happen to get me these guys, because I'm not an owner-operator, so I can't pick where I want to go. And dispatch sent me to them back to back to back without even knowing it, all right? And that's all God's work. He makes it happen. And now for the last year, he's had me prepping and getting ready, because I think that we're going to see some stuff. I think we're going to go into some partial occupation. I don't know how it works. I know that when I was taken up in the rapture, it was a real experience. I really experienced. I felt that wind pushing against my skin. You're breaking the sound barrier, but your body is just so strong you can just push right back. And it is flipping awesome. I've never felt joy like it. It's the most incredible thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. And but I've also had some other things that were very, very real. And one of them was in 2018 or 19. I had a dream. I was in Colorado, and it was under Chinese occupation. They had shut down the eastbound freeway of I-70, I believe, and it was for cattle trucks, and I'm not talking about moving actual cattle. That's what they call moving dissidents, or what we called them when I was in the Army, when you needed to get troops around, and hauling people that were taken prisoner and stuff like that. They had taken a radio tower up on top of the mountain, and they had used different ones in other places that already had fencing and security around them, and turned them into small holding detention camps and stuff like that. One of the guys that I grew up with, he told me about it, and we snuck up to one. He got shot. I led him through the prayer right before they blasted him and finished him off. He gave his life to God in the dream, and then I woke up. But just like we see in Ukraine and stuff like that, they might not take the whole thing at once. There's different guys, Governor Newsom, that wench from Michigan, that governor over there that's a total Satanist, and several others have already sold out their states and stuff like that to China, and they will be able to occupy them at first, all right? So, and then those will be the grounds to do the staging point to take over the rest of America, right? People have seen Civil War and other fighting and stuff like that. They're going to release it all at once. It's all going to be orchestrated on the American public, and because the American public does not know that this is the end of days, they're still planning with gold and silver and everything like that. That's why you see people propping it up all the time. If this was your typical normal situation, yeah, having gold and silver and things like that, they're going to last and take their currency past the conflict into when things get settled down. Yeah, of course it would work. What they don't realize is that this is the end of days, and none of that's going to matter. They're going to do away with it completely, and that's why when the Bible speaks of it, they throw their gold and silver on the street. It's not worth anything. Prepping is the most important thing you can do, because those vitals, that survivability to be able to eat and drink water or hunt or whatever else, is going to do you a lot more good than a bar of gold, all right? So I don't do that. The only thing that I've done is prep, and I've always said that before. Preps are kings, all right? That's when to keep you going. For those that say, well, I don't want to have anything to do with that, right? You haven't been in the fight anyways, right? The whole point is to stay alive so that you can help more people. And during stressful situations and nightmares, in time scenarios, people are going to be more likely to give their life to God. And they're going to be looking for a beacon of hope, a ray of light, anything. And if you can speak to them, if you can help them during that time, then you can do. You can still do some work for God. You can't do that if you've given up and you haven't prepped yourself to stay alive. That's why you got to stay strong at all times. You're always fighting. As a Christian, you never stop fighting. Most Christians have never even started fighting. But if you are a Christian, you should have never. You can never stop fighting. You're going to be fighting your entire life while you're here. It's just how it is. And the more you fight, the harder they come at you. It's just how it is. Something's always going to be coming at you, and you always have to be ready. Then you have to be smart. and prepare for everything else, and you give everything you can, and then you leave the rest up to God, and that's how it works. You don't sit on your hands and expect God to do everything for you. Most of the time he'll just leave you in that situation, and while you're sending out scripture, it says, oh, nothing's going to happen to me, you're going to get waxed, okay? And then you're going to wonder why, all right? You got to do your part too, right? When they went in, they took over Canaan, when Israel took the Nephilim out, all right? They had to go in there, they had to do it, they had to get off their ass. God was with them, but you still have to show your mettle, all right? So anyways, I just wanted to share that. It's just a few things that I'm putting out. Time is so short right now, seriously. And I'm blacklisted like crazy. I'm blacklisted so bad that the Unleashing channel, my actual other channel where I have my name, Jared Beeler, and I leave comments, I can't even comment on my video. It won't even pop up for Unleashing. It won't even show it. It's so ridiculously blacklisted. We're so many people that are truthers and Christian channels, like, it's just blocked unimaginably. It's crazy. And I have been for a long time. If you are blocked, if you're blacklisted, you're already on a checklist, all right? Back in 2019, I already told you guys before, and I've shared it before. I've even shared the video, I believe. It was before they released the whole COVID thing and everything like that. I listened to a guy's Dead Man Switcher, right, out of Israel, Goldberg, and he said they already had him on a list. They were going to release something between 2020 and 21. They did later that year. All right, they started the whole thing off, just kicked it off. And they had been creating a list, and they were gonna snuff out and take people that have truthing channels and stuff like that. All right, this was I think right after Alex Jones got his shut down. All right, but they've been watching people, and he said the list was a lot bigger than they thought. There's a lot of people that they want to take care of. All right, like V for Vendetta, you got to go in, you got to get dissonance. Anybody that's going to cause resistance or inspire people. All right, you want your Chinese slave workers. That's the mindset that you want, because they won't fight back. They'll just be dull and totally oblivious to everything, and then they'll just take orders. They can't stand guys like me, all right? And there's very few of them, but they have to get rid of them, because if we find a way, we're always going to be trying to inspire the whole time for resistance. Resistance is the key all the time, like revolution, all right? And they don't want that. So, I mean, like I say, a lot of people, they're already on a list and stuff like that. I believe that dream that I was showing the other night with Paul Bagley and stuff like that, where he was on life support. I mean, like I say, they've got all these guys marked, and if you're not ready for it, or if you think it's not coming or whatever else, you're wrong. It is coming. And they're going to be snuffing people out and killing them and capturing them and everything else. The New World Order is literally on standby. They've mentioned 2025 for years, over 10 years now. The Deagle report has had the population of America between 70 and 80% gone by the time 2025 rolls around, all right? I'm telling you, it's coming, all right? And the visions and stuff that people are being shown, the end of America, all right? People seeing gas release, killing people, they're really going to do it. They're really going to do it. And how they do it, I'm not sure. They took a lot of people's DNA with those swabs in the nose. I've never been swabbed before. No mask or anything like that. I mean, that's what I'm saying, resistance all the time. It's not easy. And you can't do it if you're 11th hour Christian. You gotta know this stuff ahead of time. You actually gotta be walking the walk. If you do, it gives you a heads up, all right? And then you don't have all the weight to carry. You see what I'm saying? You're more free. You can't go back and change that now. I'm just saying that's why. Because I was watching it from years and years and years ago. And because of that, God has been able to use me. So, if anything has even got through in the first place, all right? I struggle with that a lot because I feel like all the people I have talked to has been kind of a waste of time. And the guys that I feel like are been making or would make it now, we're at the Lord of the Rings where Sam and Frodo are standing over the fire, and he's about to throw the ring in. He's like, throw it in, and they're like, no, I think I'll hold on to it. I'm like, oh no. fact, that's where I'm at with some of my friends and stuff like that. They're still holding on to it. They won't throw it in the fire, and they're probably going to end up in the tribulation. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen. I know that it wasn't. I was in a terrible mood, and stuff was. It was not good. It looked really rough for whatever it was, but it did seem also like a normal day. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure how it's going to go down. I really, I don't know. I only know that it's close. I know that they're prepping in every single way. Same with the Supreme Court action that they just did the other day, yesterday. I mean, that's all to protect Obama, Biden, and anybody else that they can. All right, from some of this diabolical schemes and stuff that they've done, why they've been in office. All right, it nullifies it for them. It doesn't have anything to do with Trump. All right. So, anyways, these are a few things on my mind that I wanted to just share while I'm sitting here, and I can, because I never know how long it's going to be again until I can make a video or whatever else. But there's just a few things in my mind that I wanted to talk about. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But I can tell you this. There really is not that much time. I really think this stuff's going to go down by next year, 2025. I think the whole thing's going to kick off. I think Trump's going to get in. They're going to do a coup on the whole thing, and America will not be the same again from that point on. It might be straight survival. It might be partial takeover. It might be partial civil war. I have no idea. And I think that after this, maybe in 2026, maybe 2025, I don't know. It would be great if it was this year that the rapture's going to happen. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure when that is, but I know that it's close, and I've given a back date, like I said, 2026, because it'll be 7 years until 6,000 years completely, right? Maybe it won't be that way. I don't know. Because all we can do is speculate. I've expected him to come back a lot sooner. I've felt that hasn't been any time, and in that he's bought more time, so that more people can be witnessed to, shared to. I've talked to everybody at this point. There's nobody else to talk to. There's nobody else on my list. Everybody that I can think of, that I have thought of, been around, that I can talk to, I mean, it's done. And I've watched most people just reject it. And now God is doing something totally different in my life. He's not having me go in for these people. He's separating these people. A lot of these people that I've known for 20 years, that have had 20 years to make decisions and more, time's up. He's pulling me from them, and it's happening really, really fast. I lost 3 or 4 really good friends like last year, and this year it's already starting to happen. It's increasing in speed. He's pulling them from me, all right? He's separating the wheat from the chaff, all right, big time. And it's happening to you guys as families and other things like that, all right? Families disowning you, they don't want to have anything to do with you, or going through hardships and stuff like that. I totally understand. That separation is taking place. It's going to be obvious when those that are being separated are taken to heaven, and you were separated from the family that's persecuting, pointing their fingers, saying how much time's left. There's no such thing as rapture. God's not coming back. Anything and everything that you can possibly think of, and I don't have the time to say all the scenarios, all right? There's going to be a complete separation. When you are taken and they're standing there pointing their finger, they're going to know damn well right on the spot what's happening. And God's making that very clear. He's making that separation. The path is getting narrower right now. There's all you can do is stay on it, all right? For a long time, I've been trying to hold everybody. I'm constantly thinking, how can I save my friends? How can I help my friends? How can I encourage my friends? How can I get supplies to my friends all the time, right? And, you know, it's very clear now. While I've been doing this the whole time, none of those friends have ever even tried to come and see me. You know, I've bent over backwards for everybody I know and love and care about, and there is no reciprocation right there. There's just a world full of narcissism on a level I've never seen before. Narcissism wasn't in the Bible, all right? It was called love of self, but that's what it is, all right? And it's catastrophically huge right now on a level that's just unimaginable. I've heard counselors listening to them say that they believe 50% of the Earth's population is narcissistic, right? I push that number up into the 90s, all right? I don't put it at 99% or 99.5, which I believe is going to be left behind, all right? I put it at like the 95% range. And there's going to be that little small percentage where they're just good people, but they don't know. Maybe they just don't know God, don't believe Him, or they don't want to at the time, but they're not narcissistic. All right, but the rest of people are. It's just crazy and disgusting. But I'm getting pulled from all of this. God is closing that door. No more. I'm not going to carry him. The whole point where you stand before God, and I can't say, oh, this is a good guy. God, I vouch for him, or I vouch for him. Nobody's vouching for me, and I cannot vouch for anybody else. You will stand in front of God alone while he pulls up the records and he pulls up the computer screens, and you watch your life and what you did and where you stood and everything like that. There will be no excuses on anything like that. And that separation is taking place, and I am not allowed to help carry people. All right, the very mistakes and problems that they're going through right now are self-brought on by their own self, by living in the world, by loving the world, by not following God's plan, and by not preparing and trying to be 11th hour Christians, all right? And now this whole heap of trouble is on them that they've built themselves. It's not that God can't help them out of it. It's that they've built up so much that to step out of it, it's not an hour-long thing. It's going to take a while, and they've done that to themselves. But the whole point of me trying to carry and stuff like that, God's making it very clear to me right now that that's not going to be the way anymore, and I can't do that. I have to leave them alone, and they have to come to it themselves. I can't make that happen. So. But I'm watching it happen, and I kind of got hit with this the other day, big time. I got scolded in like 5,000 different ways from Sunday, but it's true, all right? And you know, I've done all that I can do, and a lot of you have done all you can do. So it's all you can do now is you hold onto that rope yourself, you walk the line yourself, and if you can't carry somebody else, God's setting it up that way. You're not meant to, right? We've done that part for a long time. So all you can do is if somebody asks, you can talk to them, and you can help them in that way. But as we're carrying them or going through that, like I say, that separation is taking place. Those that are going to make it are going to make it, and they're going to make it because of God. He's going to carry them through it. And the others, if they're going to fall away, they're going to die, or they're going to go into the tribulation, right? And it is sad, but it's happening. And I'm not just preaching to a wall here. You guys know what I'm talking about. You're seeing it happen yourselves. You know it's happening, all right? And it is tough when it's people that you love and care about, but God's making that separation right now. We really are out of time. There is not much left, and things can take off at a roaring, breakneck speed. So be as ready as you can. Your goal, as usual, is to be as tough as you can, survive as much as you can, stay as close as God you can, because that is the only way that that you can help those that are in need that might have not heard anything, all right? But as for the people that you've talked to for a long time, like I say, I really believe that separation is taking place. They're going to have to make up their mind themselves. They've been warned long enough. And a lot of people that I've talked to, I mean, I've known over 20 years, and they're still doing the same thing. They haven't changed at all. So, you know, that's going to have to be something that they decide for themselves. But anyways, I think that's where I'm going to leave it at right now. It's kind of just some things on my mind that I wanted to share, and I don't know if it'll help anybody, but maybe it will. But be as ready as you can and stay as close to God as you can. Time's up, and just keep holding on, because it won't be much longer, and when it does happen, it'll start happening really, really fast, and there's going to be time to getting things fixed or anything else. You're going to have to move at breakneck speed, all right? So trust in God, see where He takes you and stuff, and if I don't get to talk anymore online or anything like that, you guys you remember what I said, you remember everything that I said, so you'll have that. But anyways, God bless. I'll catch you next time on the Elysian, or I'll see you in there. Thanks a lot. Bye.